Relief pitcher Tanner Scott, I saved it for 3 seconds. Relief pitcher Tanner Scott also signed with the Dodgers the other day. Let that sink in for a minute. So they just picked up Sasaki. Then they picked up the best reliever in the free agent market. And they just did so because they can so. That's all it comes down to. So here's the details. 4 years, $72 million. That includes a $21 million in deferred money and a $20 million signing bonus. No big deal. It's a lot of tortillas. So, top reliever in the market this offseason by FWAR, according to Fangraphs, since 2023. There's a lot of big names.
That's
in
more than
that.
Class A. For
Right.
those of you wondering, like that's great. That's outstanding for him to be the top of that class. So I think he was like, don't quote me on this, but I want to say he was above Class A by like a half, by like 0.5. Something like that.
I'm not going to quote you on anything. I don't know about that specific, but I do believe you. There you go. Now, there have been reports circulating that the Red Sox offered him larger dollar amount and a longer term of the contract. We want to divest you of that. We've heard also on good authority that those are false reports, so don't get your hopes up or get upset because none of that was going to happen. Anyway, the Cubs, however, did offer him $66 million, and he chose warmth, deferred money, and more of it in Los Angeles.
Real quick, you bring up a really good point. Hold on. You bring up a really good point there, though, Brig. There is something to be said with playing in a warm weather city in March, end of March, all of April, May, September, October.
Yep.
Right? Something to be said for that to be your home city. Because I've always been baffled by the fact that Miami doesn't attract more free agents, Tampa Bay doesn't attract more free agents, San Diego. Because, my goodness, San Diego to me is the place.
Yep.
Everybody ought to want to go play in San Diego. I get LA, but getting to that ballpark sucks from what I hear.
Yeah.
San Diego should be the place. Anaheim should be the place. That ballpark, it couldn't be easier to get to that park.
That's
right?
true.
Like, you would think that those places, guys would be lined up out the door to go play there, but there's something about the front office culture that's different with the Dodgers than it is anywhere else, despite the fact that we've seen the Padres want to win. We know the Rays want to win. I know they're not gonna pay as much, but
they're competitive constantly.
They are. Yeah. You'll go there and you'll win.
So here's the deal. I listened to Joe Kelly talk about this. Now, he was referencing Shohei Ohtani, but I think it's applicable here. He said, let's say there's a salary floor and a salary cap, and it's all, even. He says, you got a guy like Shohei Ohtani, everybody can pay him $10, right? He says, whatever. Let's call it $10. He said, in the course of those negotiations, if the money is not the deciding factor in any way, where are you going to go? He says, you put on your list the best places to be in the United States. And he says, you're not going to get Milwaukee. You're not going to get Minnesota. And you're not going to get Pittsburgh. He says, you're going to end up in Los Angeles. You're going to end up in New York. You're going to end up in places like that. He says, so, he says, I'm only getting paid at $1 compared to the $10. I know where I want to go play for $1. My dollar, I want to be in a warm place where it's nice, where it's enjoyable to be, where stuff's going on. Can't blame that.
I said that what was it, 5 years ago about Joe Kelly, that he feels like Southern California?
Oh, yeah.
He belongs there, absolutely.
100%. But I think he brings up a really good point, because if these other teams like Milwaukee, let's say, like Cincinnati,
Toronto,
if they can't offer the weather like Los Angeles or San Diego could, and they can't offer the bustling, high-flying nightlife like you could get in New York or Boston, then what else is there but money? And I know there's more to it than that. This is a gross oversimplification. But it is interesting to see why players who are truly great end up in the same spots a lot. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The great players who come from those other markets are homegrown or got shunted off there a lot. Again, this is oversimplification, but it feels like they're getting the Sonny Gray treatment where they're like, we don't know. Let's get him out of here. And he ends up in Cincinnati or somewhere like that. And then he turns it around, right?
Well, and let's talk about an oversimplification. That was Sonny Gray with the Yankees, not Sonny Gray with anybody else.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. I'm just saying, from one year to the next,
yeah,
culture aside, right?
mm-hmm.
Maybe that was a poor example. Maybe, okay, all right.
But no, you're right, though. You're right, though, that
I just don't
there's
know
a
what to
reason the
fix.
Dodgers have been consistently great for as long as they have been. And for a while, I don't think that and I mean, the Dodgers had dysfunctional ownership for a while. The
For
group,
sure.
I think it was the Malloys that sold to the current group. Like, they couldn't make payroll at certain points because they had bought the team on credit. They didn't actually pay for the team. They bought it on credit. Like, that would be like you and I being like, hey, you want to go like monster in debt and go buy a big league team? You're like, yeah. What assets do we have? A couple. Is it good enough? We'll say it is. Okay, let's go do it. And then it comes time to pay the team. You're like, well, we brought in this, but we brought it like we have like a couple of monster contracts that need to get paid, and it's not adding up. Right? Like, that's kind of what was going on.
Right.
Before this current group. And now this current group is like, we got buku bucks and we're going to throw it around because we can. Also, by the way, we bring in more money from ticket revenue than just about anybody in the league. So it's hardly scraping our pockets anyway.
Yep.
Because we know if we have a good product in the field, we can jack up ticket prices and still sell out every single game because this is the place to be in LA during the summer.
It continues to be, has been for years.
In a town that has a lot of money to throw around.
And a lot of offer, right? There's a lot of other things that people could be going to do.
Yep.
So it's hard to argue with Los Angeles. And as a Yankees fan, it's hard to be upset. I feel like morally, ethically, I'm not allowed to be like, thumbing my nose at the Dodgers and at the players that are choosing the Dodgers, because for years and years, that's how it was with the Yankees.
It was New York.
It was the same thing. I want to be there. I want to wear pinstripes. I want to win. I want to be in the nightlife or in the whatever. All the reasons, every single reason. And so that's just what we're experiencing now.
This is my last thing. My last thing on this particular item is I think that there's a shift in what players want. Used to, it was they wanted New York City. New York City was the place to be, right? For anybody, everywhere, from everywhere, right? But now it's like there's a shift in attitude, I feel like, from a lot of players where it's like, or just people, where it's like, the beach is nice. It's laid back. I can just chill on my phone, right? Like, don't have somebody mowing me over on their way to wherever. I can go to the beach and hang out. I can go to play baseball the same day. Like, it's nice. It fits my personality more. It fit my personality more. I know that.
Right. It would for you.
So I absolutely get it. But I want to talk money, Brig, because this is really interesting. Okay. So do you mind if I steal the rest of this from you real quick?
Get after it.
All right. So we talked deferred money. Let's talk about deferred money. $21 million. Okay. But let's talk this year real quick. Jeff Passan says, as the team stands today, their 2025 payroll will be more than